Buongiorno, buon pomeriggio, e buonasera, Lazio world. Welcome to our instant reaction pod. Consider this a little stoppage time as we review Torino, Lazio. I'm your host, Sean McIntosh, joined as always by my good friend, Caleb Adams. Caleb, what a tough weekend for us following a late one for you last night on the East Coast. But Charlotte FC versus the Galaxy, and then obviously today's absolutely horrific match to watch, to grind through. So I'd ask, I guess, how you doing? But I kind of
It's been pretty miserable weekend of sporting events, that's for sure.
Well, let's jump into this one, and all we can do at this point is kind of hope that this club is maybe saving anything good, anything like that meme of like the stick figure that's like poking, that's like do something. Is we're just hoping that maybe Lazio does something for us midweek. If we're gonna save it for anything, it's really what we're hoping for. So this one, an absolute grog to get through, but get through it we will. So let's jump in. Couple noteworthy mentions in the starting 11. Pellegrini again, starting on that left side over Nuno Tavares. Profsgaard again with Gila injured. You've got Profsgaard on the left center back role with Romagnoli to his right, Marusic on that right back position. Your midfield comprised once again of Taylor, Cataldi, and Beleyan. Cancellieri getting the start over Isaacson, and then Ratkov with his second start for this Lazio side. Bit of a surprise, but maybe not given the injuries to Maldini. And then Zaccagni, again, as he's trying to round into fitness, once again, starting his second game back from injury. So this one, again, not a ton from Lazio. In the 21st minute, though, we really just a sign of where this Lazio team is right now. Just a bit disorganized, chaotic, and lacking any sort of quality, cohesion. It's a goal from Simeone. No shocker there. He loves feasting on Lazio, and he finds his goal as a result of really just poor fundamentals from Pellegrini. Ball comes in. He is trying to box out his defender. He does this so often. It's just mind-melting stuff from him, in a bit of miscommunication with him and Pellegrini, but or him and Provedel, and Pellegrini just should have cleared the ball. Can't. Results in a goal. Profsgaard does his best to clear it off the goal line. And then our first real chance comes in the 37th minute. Zaccagni does well to beat his defender, plays a ball across goal, falls to Beleyan, but it is deflected. Halftime subs, state of this match, right? You're forced to make multiple halftime substitutions. That's how poorly that first 45 was. You see Dele Bashiru come in for Beleyan, and then Noslin for Ratkov. 53rd minute, Duvan Zapata header. It's a free cross, time and space to cross the ball in, and one of the areas where we really struggle in. But it's Zapata dunking on Profsgaard, which is really unfortunate. Profsgaard, you'd say one of his strengths is winning balls aerially, and he just gets beat there. But it's a quick response by Lazio, immediate reaction. Noslin, great strike, curls it, but it's a nice diving save there. We see Zaxon coming into the match for Cancellieri, Nuno for Pellegrini. We'll talk about that. And then in the 75th minute, Nuno starting to make an impact, just cleanly beats his defender, plays a great ball into the box, and Noslin tries to tap it in, but he's got defenders all over him. It's a great defensive deflection out for a corner. Cataldi in the 79th plays a fantastic ball, finding Dele Bashiru in the box. It's a bit of a poor touch, that allows just enough time for a defender to come in and deflect his shot. And then, our final real chance comes in the 87th minute. Marusic, fantastic job heading a ball down to Romagnoli, who gets I'd say a perfect header to it, but it's once again a big save that ultimately keeps a clean sheet for Torino. 2-0. Lazio goes down again to a very poor Torino side, who is without, mind you, is without Baroni, who was sacked. So first match under a new coach, saw a bit of the coach's bump. Caleb, give me your 3 words or less to describe this one.
Lifeless. I understand we're kind of putting all our eggs in Coppa Italia, but like under any other circumstance, we're calling for changes at coaching. We're demanding more, and just as I mean, parts of the fandom have gotten complacent. It seems the team has also gotten complacent. Like I understand that we've chalked up the season. Okay, it's done, but this looks like a side that isn't motivated. It's a side that they look defeated already. And I think the biggest thing for me that was telling was we go down a goal. Like there was zero like pressure on Torino. It was very, very pedestrian. We weren't able to. We didn't put any pressure. We didn't push hard for that second goal. We get some substitutes. It isn't until Nuno really comes in where it's like, okay, we're actually trying to score now. But I don't think that's a healthy state for the club to be in. Of course, when you go down a goal and you're not even seeing the team like respond. I didn't even see a response. Really, couldn't pressure anyone. Yeah, it's just tough. It's a really tough watch, and I some of the lineup decisions. I mean, I'm sure came with Coppa Italia, at the forefront, and that's coming up, and some weird calls too, like Redkov starting, Cancelleri. I understand, like these may be Atalanta, so decisions, but like this Torino side is not good. Like they're really not that good. But we made it look very easy. It was just silly mistakes, but yeah, it just feels bad.
Yeah.
I wish I could take a positive twist or something, but I just really can't glean any positives from this match, really.
Yeah, it's tough too. And we'll talk about I think worthy discussion about some of the selections, because I thought the selections mostly made sense. It's just at the end of the day it resulted in just bad. So my 3 words, and I pulled this from a scene, and I actually tweeted the video for anybody that wants to check it out, but a scene from the original Jurassic Park where Jeff Goldblum stumbles across the biggest pile of dinosaur crap I've ever seen. And he walks up to it and says, "This is one big pile of beep." And so my 3 words are one big pile, because that's exactly what this match was all the way across the board. It was just bad in every which way. Technically, bad on the players. The goals conceded were beyond preventable. I mean, especially that first one. It's just circus level stuff. The effort was embarrassing to go down, and as you said, Caleb, like there wasn't a response. I think what you do have are some answers about some players that become even more like resounding and kind of nail in the coffin for some of these guys, but all around, just a really bad showing. Another match that we're under 1 expected goal, which is also kind of crazy because Torino, just we'll run through the stats here. Torino expected goals 0.69. So it's like, my goodness, decent enough defensively, but then not when you think about your left back really just being at fault for that first goal. And then you expect better from Profsgaard, who played fine for the majority of the match. Like I thought Profsgaard and Romagnoli were fine, but again, a moment where a ball comes in, you just have to, especially that's your strength. So yeah, it's tough. It was, and so look, let's, you mentioned the lineup. I'll say for me, I was pretty fine with what we rolled out. This is a bad Torino side. You hope that if you're going to look, Cancellieri, the verdict is out. It's done. I've said this from the beginning. He's Serie B player. We know what he is. Isaacson, for all of the gripes that we have, I think we're now in agreement. Like he's much better. Even coming into this one late, like he's able to do a few things that Cancellieri just through 60 plus minutes wasn't able to do. But I do have an eye towards Coppa Italia. That for me is the only thing that matters. So Pellegrini has been really bad. Today was absolutely astonishing, but this has been a run of matches from him. And I think we all know, like at this point, yes, Nuno is the better player. I give the big caveat that we also have to remember Nuno is injury prone. And in a game like today, I was worried because once he came in, you started seeing him get knocked. He got taken down. The foul on him in the late stages of the match that was not given a yellow was insanity. And then, a little bit of a stupid foul from him that again, he's taking a knock. I need a fully fit Nuno for us to have any chance of scoring goals in this Coppa Italia match on Wednesday. So for me, completely understand starting Pellegrini over Nuno. In fact, I didn't even want to see Nuno come into the match because at 2-0, I was like, this one's done. We're not scoring any goals. We're certainly not scoring 2 goals to level this one. So Ratkov with Maldini out. Again, I think we all, at least you and I, like Noslin, but fine, give the kid a chance in a match that doesn't matter. Like if we're going to see if he has anything, like these are the types of games that you've got to play him in. We've been frustrated for our young new signings not getting these types of starts. Yeah. So I think it would be hypocritical to be mad that Ratkov is getting a start. I think we're seeing, I'm getting more and more concerned, but maybe under a different manager and different system, Ratkov can be something. So by no means am I writing off any player in their first few months of Serie A. Aside from that, like we just don't have a ton of options. Like Belian wasn't great. Then you put in Dele Bashiru and he was even worse. So yeah, I do expect, I guess my hope is that this was so bad. I do expect a better side or a better performance midweek with the injection of a Nuno. If it's not Maldini, I would expect Noslin, which gives me a little bit more hope. But I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's a low key. That's cope from also me as well. Like I feel like the only copium we got is like we're playing like this because we kind of regular the regular season, the table has kind of gone away from us. We're gonna put everything on the floor against Atalanta here at midweek. I don't feel confident in us putting up a performance. I hope we do. I really hope we have something to cheer for because right now it's really difficult to even be engaged in matches at this point. Not even from just even if we're losing, but like those last when Nuno came on, those last 15 minutes or so, I was like, okay, at least I'm enjoying watching the match right now.
But that's the reality. So it's more than just hoping that things will change. I do think, look, if we get a Pellegrini start on Wednesday, I think it's pitchforks out. So we know, like this side is, regardless of, and we can talk about how dreadful it is to watch this Sarri system right now. But at the very least, the cold hard fact is when Nuno is in there, things do open up. When Noslin is in there, chances do start to come. At least Isaacson is better than Cancellieri. So isn't it realistic to, it's not like just hope out of nothing that on Wednesday, if we have those three starting, we're at least better than we were today.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I 100%. I think a different lineup gives us a better shot.
And Atalanta just lost today with up a man against Sassuolo, who, you know, is maybe has the coach of the year. What Fabio Grosso is doing with that Sassuolo side is incredible, but you know, Atalanta is not necessary. I mean, Atalanta had a great result in Champions League, but another side that, you know, didn't play well today.
Yeah. Thing is, like, if Atalanta get a corner kick, we're cooked. You know, like we're looked at. I mean, it's cool. Like we looked at. That's something that's not going to help us. This is a deeper issue. But it's just we, even with like our best 11 out there, which is they have quality. I don't believe in this idea that this is a relegation side. I just don't.
No, it's not a relegation side, but Caleb, let's be honest. This is a side that is exactly where they are in the table. They don't have that much quality. You were talking about it on the broadcast with, you know, Matteo Bonetti looking at and rattling off the names. And it's like, what, I mean, these are players. Is Dele Bashiru playing for anybody in the top 10? Is Ratkov playing for anybody in the top 10? Is Pellegrini playing for anybody?
I look at Sassuolo. I look at Torino squads. I look at these squads and I'm like, Sassuolo is currently in 8th place, and they literally just got promoted. They just had a disastrous relegation. Just got promoted. Got to win against this same Atalanta side you mentioned. We're talking about squad quality, and it isn't that like this is a one-off game. This isn't like Sassuolo or just
for sure.
Like they're 8th place,
but they're not. Their squad is not that much. Like our squad is not that much better than theirs. They've got a Berardi, Pinamonti, Loriente is a really solid player. They've got guys like Kone who are deep. Like they're, to me, the same level.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the same level. But this team plays far better than we do,
for sure. But like my point is, like our place in the standing, I don't. Again,
I still believe, like, this is the hill I'll die on. I still believe this squad can do better. I don't think this squad is Champions League, and I don't think the squad potentially is not even top 6 in the league. But I do think the squad is capable of being in those 6th to 8th places and at least trying to compete to the very last day for that 6th spot. That for me is kind of like I realistically set my expectations. I do think the squad is underperforming at this point. I'll die on that hill. But like, for example, last season, keep in mind, our second half of the season was considered disastrous. It was considered a complete disaster. We all called for Badoni's head. I think rightfully so. We managed to score 30 points in the second half of the season. Okay, just the second half under Badoni, we scored 30 points over the course of the second half of the season. This was the guy who was hurt. Keep in mind, it's the guy who was hurt really bad. Was finally taken out for about 3 months at this edge. So we had our injury problems at this stage too. Nuno was also not to be found. Like he was also habitually hurt at this stage of the season, right? Coming to the end. And we managed to score 30 points in the second half. We're at what, 34 for the entire season? Now, there's a lot of factors. But I do still think the team is underperforming. I, of course, don't have the expectations of, yeah, we need to be like competing right there with Milan and Juve, whatever. Yeah. But with that said, I hope this team is capable of beating Atalanta. Like that, first and foremost, I'm gonna put out there. This team we are capable of beating this Atalanta side. This Atalanta side is not that good either. My expectations are to beat this side. Am I confident we will? No,
for sure. You shouldn't be confident. I mean, you tell me we're playing Lecce or Verona. Like I'm not confident in beating any side. And let's make no mistakes. Like, this Atalanta side just had no problems coming back in a Champions League fixture against Dortmund. So, I mean, this Atalanta side is like, this is not a gimme by it. I mean, forget it. Like I said, this Lazio side is capable of losing to any and everybody. But I do expect a couple. I don't expect any sort of result. But I do expect us to have a better showing, is what I expect. And now hard to not, because today was absolutely dreadful. But I do think that if Sadi plays Nuno, plays Isaacson, finds Noslin in there, or we have Maldini, I expect a better showing. Now, this side is capable of absolutely losing its cool, doing insane things. Obviously, the marking on set pieces and balls that are crossed in result in disaster for us. So I could see us losing 2-0, 3-0, absolutely. And all that being said, I still expect a better showing. Just like that match that we lost 2-0, right? We're like, okay. So that is kind of just like I expect a better showing, and I'm hopeful that a result follows. But I do think you're right. This side is underperforming. We should be doing a little bit better. That's what a great manager can come in and make a lesser side better.
Mm-hmm.
But I also at the same time think that we are around where this quality of the squad is. And that's why Lazio supporters are boycotting. That's what the anti-Lotito movement is right now, because this is a far cry from the talent that we've had even just a couple years ago. Like, this is an embarrassing project when you talk about these players that are out there. There's just not the quality. I mean, we're talking about too many guys that wouldn't play for any top 10. We're not talking about Champions League. We're talking about enough players on here between Ratkov and Pellegrini, and Profsgaard's not playing on any of the top 10 teams. Beleyan, like, you start listing this off, and it's half of the players that are out there are not good enough to play on a team that is trying to qualify for Europe. So yes, Sadi absolutely, no doubt, has to do something different and better. And a great manager can squeeze out a little bit more. And I thought there were times this year that he was, and now he's not. So it's fair to criticize. But man, it's just going to take like an extra level of, because now we don't even have this like cohesiveness or this unity or those things that can kind of negate poor technical ability. So it comes off really, really bad. Yeah. I think it's fair to criticize what we're seeing right now because it's absolutely dreadful. But I do think the reality is like the quality of this team and where we sit in the table, it's pretty close to what it should be.
That's okay. I get that perspective. But you mentioned like a good coach gets more out of the squad. Right now, I don't think Sadi's getting more out of the squad, or necessarily. I think he's getting worse out of the squad, but I think Sadi definitely is not getting more out of the squad.
How many teams ahead of us? How many teams are ahead of us that you think absolutely should not be ahead of us in terms of like quality?
Sassuolo. I think Atalanta are not a good team. I think Atalanta. I think their squad and even their squad is like. You see players like Derun, like this dude. He's old. This is not the same Derun of like 3-4 seasons ago.
Man, I so disagree there. I mean, they got
Scamacca, who's a bust. Like I think Scamacca has been overrated. Has two ACL injuries at this point. Not
okay, but injuries aside, like he still was. I mean, he was really, really strong for them when they won Europa League. I mean, he's a better striker than what we have.
That's true. I totally agree with that. I don't think their winger is better here. I don't think Zalewski is any better. Samardzic's a center mid, kind of way to compare. But
yeah, we all wanted Samardzic. Like you give me him.
I understand that, but I don't think he's a higher quality. He is shown now. We didn't get him a year later. All of a sudden, he doesn't play for a while.
Rades 44 on Twitch with a great note. Like Maldini was sitting on their bench, and he's now one of our like top guys.
There are certainly positions where they're better at, and I think there are positions that we are at that we're better. Like I
think they're better at more positions.
I think Gila and Romagnoli are a strong duo. I think Tavares is still a strong left back option, more so than a Bernasconi, for example. Like I think Nuno's still a good player. I think that even I say Rovella. We won't even include Rovella in the conversations because he hasn't been.
Yeah, he's not a player for us right now.
So, but if you include him in, our midfield is a midfield of Rovella. It is a midfield of Taylor, and then that third option is kind of up in the air. Yep, for sure. Like Samardzic is definitely the player that's better there, but I don't think these guys here are better than a Taylor. I think Taylor is better than pretty much every single midfielder I see here. Samardzic's the only one that I would have a competition there for. I think Zaccagni is a better winger than they have right now. But yeah, I mean, again, like of course there's some spots that we're lower in, but I don't think it's a night and day comparison. I don't think
you're talking about a side that's like in Champions League, in Europa, won Europa 2 years ago, is the furthest team in Champions League right now of any Serie A team. Like,
how did they do last year though? How was Atalanta last year?
Man, that's a great question. I mean,
they
obviously qualified for Champions.
For me, a lot of Atalanta success goes to Gasperini, traces back to him. Like, yes, they did a wonderful job recruitment wise, but then again, this is a side that yes started spending a lot more in recent times, but building the squad. We were not looking at Atalanta and saying, man, their squad, that's an elite squad. Like, we were not saying that. We were saying
no, but for years we talked about the infrastructure that they had. Like, yes, Gasperini, tons of credit, but their infrastructure, young players developing, finding great young talent, their investments were always really, really smart. And what I have to say about Atalanta, because you're right, and tons of credit to Gasperini there, but then Gasperini leaves, and most clubs would then like crash back down to earth of what they were before. And they're still a team that is top 7, like in the mix. They're in the mix still for a Champions League spot. So like that crash hasn't happened, which shows me that they still have a great foundation.
Definitely. I don't think our foundation is in the dirt though. That's what I'm saying. I don't think our spine is that terrible. I look at this team, I'm like, man, they are just leagues. I look at a team like Inter and I'm like, okay, leagues ahead. Milan, that squad, that leagues ahead. Napoli, leagues ahead. Even Roma has a case for leagues. I mean, even Roma squad, they don't even look that like this isn't that impressive of a side in terms of just particularly quality. Cristante, okay. Kone, yeah, he's a good player. Kone is a good player. Selic, a decent right back. You have Wesley, who's also a decent left back for them. You have Malen, who has been sort of like he went to Dortmund, wasn't really established.
Yeah, he's been really good for them though.
He's been great, but again, he's a player. They spent a decent amount of money. What was he, like 15, 20 mil around there? 15 mil is what they got him for. Pellegrini, solid player. Zaragoza, solid player as well. Like, I even look at Roma squad, I'm like, this squad isn't really that crazy. Like, this isn't that insane of a squad.
I think I was trying to find the
Como, even Como, like Como spent a lot of money for sure.
But I mean, they spent a ton.
But look, the left back is Alberto Moreno. He was a failure at Liverpool most places. Most of the players are under 23 years old to begin with. And yeah, they're good under 23 players. But the only players where I'm like, oh man, that is like class player, like class. Like Cacaret, for example, he's a class player. They got him from Lyon, very good player. But for me, this even looking at Como's team, I'm like, if I had no context and I saw this Como side, I'm like, this is probably a mid-table side. Like, this is they got some good players in here. Yes, they got some good young players in here, but I look at the squad and this isn't like an Inter squad. This isn't a squad that Napoli have. This is
I think they've spent more than we spend in like 3 years.
I understand.
And they've got an absolute superstar in Nico Paz.
They do.
Changes everything.
I mean, I vote on Morata's.
Well, yeah, Morata's not even
like,
relevant.
Whatever. Like, go through Como squad right now and tell me which of these players you think is just like a class above. Like Paz, Cacaret. Who else is a class above right here?
What's his? Hold on. Now I can't remember his name. I think he's been injured the past couple games. Let me look at there.
I'm looking through here, and I'm like, a lot of these guys, yes, they're good. They're good findings, but these are by no means world beaters. Where I'm like, wow, like this guy, like the center back duo they have. Oh, these guys are just way above Romagnoli and Hila. Like, no way. Like, there's no way. Even like Cacaret, of course, is a fantastic player, and Paz, a brilliant attacker. I mean, I would love to have someone like Paz on our team, of course. But I look at the squad, and again, I'm like, this isn't that insane of a squad. Like Diego Carlos, solid center back, I would say he's comparable to Romagnoli. You know, he was a bit of a kind of okay in the Premier League, but he's a solid player. I don't see this like just gargantuan gap of quality that is just untenable for me. I think
Baturina is probably better than most of what we have.
What's his name?
Martin Baturina. He's really, really good. He came from Dynamo Zagreb. He's I think he's like a $30 million, again, more than we spend, attacking midfielder. I think he's class for them. I think he's just been injured the past couple games, but he had been really.
I mean, name me any other like class above player here that's above a Lazio player. Like that's 3 players we can solidly say they are better than anything we got. Just name me other ones.
But they also have guys that are, it's a project. They have players that they say, hey, this is the manager style of play. And then they went out and got players that fit that manager. And we could complain about Sadi, and we do. And it's dreadful football right now. And so I wish he would change it to try and maximize what he has. But what Como did was say, okay, this is the identity that Cesc Fabregas wants. Let's work with him to get those players to play in that style. But I think they absolutely have a better roster than us. Throw in the fact that they've got a legitimate superstar and that single-handedly will win them games. No different than a player like, I don't think Milan has a great, team. I don't think that they're like top down, but they have a couple game changers that even
in Milan, Como for sure. Like the hill that I'm just dying on here is simply that I do think that coaching is playing a major factor in the perceived value and quality of our team. Because, like you said,
yes, but I think that there's only one team that is ahead of us in the table that you look at and go, yeah, our roster is better than theirs. We should be outperforming Sassuolo. But everybody else, I think that they've got better. So I think both things are true. You're right.
And Bologna, like Orsolini's not even having a great of a season. Like Bologna, I look at the squad and I'm like surely we can at least get over Bologna. Sure, Freuler. Who is Freuler? What? The only one that one of the better midfielders on Bologna is Pobega, who was like a Milan outcast and is like, okay, like you can't tell me this guy's better than a Taylor. You can't tell me this guy's better than even for me. Cataldi was on a Fiorentina side that was incredibly impressive last year. He was on a Fiorentina side.
But he wasn't starting.
Competing. I understand that, but he was still a player that was getting consistent minutes, and he's still a really solid player. So I mean, I do think it's more than just Sadi. I want to be very clear. I do think it's more than just Sadi, but I also feel that a very similar side to this had 30 points last season in the second half of the season. We're at 34 in the season. I mean, that's just unacceptable.
I think both things are true. I think that both Sadi is underperforming, but also there are no teams that I look at ahead of us aside from Sassuolo and go, oh, we should be better than them. We should be ahead of them. I just look at it and go, it's kind of exactly where we are, and that's the frustration when again the biggest qualm. You can be upset and say Sadi is underperforming, but the reality is that as a club, there's zero ambition. What are we doing to change it? What are we going out there and saying, Como's splashing this, let's go and do this, let's find this. Fine, if Sadi's the problem, if you then get rid of Sadi and find a manager that is a great manager and then build something. So for me, when you look at how we're investing, we're exactly where we should be.
Even keeping Sadi at this stage is a reflection of unambition. 100% is any other.
Who are you gonna get? Who are you gonna get?
Sadi's gone. Sadi is gone.
There's nobody who.
I don't even gone. Like I'm just saying that. All I'm saying is that even bringing Sadi back for
For
me.
sure.
Mark
Yeah.
on ambition. Even the hiring of Baroni,
The
despite him
hiring of Baroni, yes.
despite him overperforming with the squad, getting us a semifinal against a Bodo team that actually turns out to be really good. Um, despite all that, being on two fronts, two sides, despite all that, like, yes, that was also an unambitious hire. And I think the rehiring of Sadi was an unambitious mark. The initial hiring of Sadi was ambitious at the time. But, I personally think Sadi is his glory days. I don't think he's going to ever replicate what he did at Napoli under any team with any resources. But with that said, that's just a personal opinion. With that said, yes, even bringing Sadi back is a sign of unambition. And of course, like, you don't want them just sacking Sadi and you're like, kind of floating around if there's no other good, clear candidate.
Not while we're still in competition. That's my point. Is
okay.
If we were knocked out of Coppa Italia, then sure, whatever. But for me, there's no reason to get rid of him when you still have something to play for, and I don't want to disrupt any of that, and particularly because it's not a situation where
will it disrupt it, or will it give the team new life to push even harder in the competition?
I guess we'll see. Like,
Torino,
I don't know.
Like the manager,
we just haven't had any. There's been nothing to play for in these Serie A matches, which you want a manager that can come in, but I'm sick of wasting time. So what are we going to do? Sack Sadi, get somebody like Tudor that gets us through the end of the season, and then we got to figure it out again.
I was going to say that, like, Sadi's first initial stint when Tudor came in, this is a side that looked very dead as well. And we're like, we're playing for nothing. Tudor came in, all of a sudden we're flying up the table. We get European soccer.
Yeah, but then it started to do the same thing. What I want, use this time right now to find a manager that's going to fit.
Oh yeah.
Don't give me some guy that comes in for the late stages of this match.
I hope those are the conversations. But I do think if you want to salvage the rest of the season, of course, if they had been talking, if they're like, okay, we know Sadi, he was sticking around for the end of the year. Let's get these conversations going. Let's start talking to the right people. Hey, maybe there's a good guy that's currently employed, but will be free up at the end of the season for sure. I do hope those conversations are starting at this point, because I don't think Sadi's the guy to bring this guy to take this particular group of players to and whatever players we get in summer, we'll see, to perform at a higher level than what we're at right now. But
Jacob on YouTube has said what we wanted a couple years ago, like, why not bring Conceicao? We would absolutely want that. But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who we bring if it's still going to be run in the same way. We can talk about Sadi, you can talk about Baroni. Simone Inzaghi had the exact same thing. None of it matters if it's run the exact same way. If there's not alignment, and you're not on the same page with your manager, the sporting director, and the president, and there's not a legitimate project, it does not matter okay, we can complain about Sadi, but guess what? Any other manager coming in is going to fail. It's the question is, to what degree is that failure going to be? Are we going to miss out on Europe, or maybe we're lucky and we get into Europe, but we're still going to flame out and be upset because the support isn't there. So, again, blame Sadi. Sure, he can do some things, but what's a manager supposed to do? I think that it's harsh to say that maybe Sadi is past it, but how do we know if he's got a system and he's not given the players for
what
that
is Sadi's system? I mean, what is, like, please tell me what the Sadi system, like, the last time we saw this system was Napoli. How long ago was Napoli?
He still found results with Chelsea and with Juve. He won 2 trophies.
A Juve side that, keep in mind, was, like, at the time the league was very much a Juve heavy league at that time, and Juve had Higuain, Dybala. I mean, it was a stupid,
for sure, but that's always Juve. That's always
different
Juve, and that's always Juve.
It was a different Juve in a different league as a
Juve
whole.
They crumbled after he left, mind you.
Well, even Juve, though, that's because a lot of the players left as well.
They still had. I mean,
they
stopped winning. They still had Dybala, Cristiano Ronaldo, and a lot of these guys when they didn't win the Scudetto post Sarri, and then he finds a Europa title with Chelsea. So my point is, it doesn't matter. Most managers are going to fail if they don't have the players that fit their system. And when everybody else is working counter to what you're trying to do, it's like you're going to fail. So you can bring in. Do you think Cesc Fabregas is going to come in here and find the level of success he's having with Como? No, exactly. So for me, it's until you have a legit alignment, then give me a lesser manager. I will take a lesser manager as long as Lotito supports and says, fine, this is what you need. Give him what he needs.
I think well, also with that said, I think that taking that consideration of, hey, you're not really going to get exactly what you want. Your job as a coach is to be a coach. You're not really a manager. You're a coach. You're someone that is simply focused on how the team plays, training sessions, and maybe giving your opinion on some players occasionally here and there, right? That's how the club is operated right now.
That's how it's operated.
Sadi's getting players so I'm saying, with that said, 100% it will fall on on Lotito, Fabiani to then say, okay, we need a coach that can help, that focuses more on strengths of players and builds their system around it than someone that has this diehard way and stubborn way of thinking. Of the reason Fabregas wouldn't work is because there's only one way he believes in playing football.
Right.
I think that Fabregas, like with the right tools, even with these young players, is able to get success, right? That's not something that works for us simply because you don't really get to decide, apparently, what players you want. Baroni, to be fair, did get some players from Verona. So they actually did give him some players. But no, I agree that it is also
because every manager has a style. You're playing professionally, right? You're managing at this highest level. Most of them come in and it's like, this is a style. This is not academy where you're coming in and it's just about here's the tools that you have, develop these guys. And like, they all have some semblance of a style. Pep Guardiola, it's this style. You either fit it or you don't. And the variance of how rigid that is, but they all have a style, and we can disagree with Sadi's style, but most managers that come in are going to say, hey, I want to play this. And through that interview process, the sporting director and president are asking those questions. And what they need to do is hire somebody that fits what they want to play. Literally, those are the questions that you're asking on the interview, is talking about style. What formation do you want to play? How do you scout players? What's your profile? And then if that aligns with what Lotito wants, it makes sense to hire and then support. But if you're just like, I don't care about your style, you're going to get the players that we get, it's set up for disaster. So that for me, it starts with, again, any and every manager is going to have some fixed style that they want, that they desire. Everybody wants this, like, everybody wants these managers that come in, but there's so few and far between of guys that are that tactically flexible. There's not a ton of guys that are like, hey, one match you're playing a 4-2-3-1.
At this stage, though, I mean, the team, my thinking is, simply from what we've signed, is the idea, and this even stems back to Baroni, the idea was to play a 4-2-3-1. That Fabiani and Lotito want this team to play a 4-2-3-1.
Then they obviously hired the wrong manager.
It's very obvious.
Yeah.
For me, I think that I do think Fabiani and Lotito have an idea of how they want the team to play and how to go about signing players. I think where they're being complacent in is, hey, let's bring Sadi. I think they 100% knew that Sadi's not going to play a 4-2-3-1, even though the team's built that way. And in this offseason, this January transfer window has shown me that they don't care, that they never even had an intention to support Sadi. This seems to me like a stopgap signing. Like, Sadi loves the club. We'll take advantage of that. He's probably not being paid all that much anyway. We'll get him for a year, get him out, and then get our guy in. It almost seems like a stopgap hire at this point. But I'm still very curious. I am looking forward to next season, simply because because this season has just been miserable. But secondly, because I do want to see how a similar squad of this plays under a different manager. If this same squad has some of the same struggles we've seen, if this same squad has the challenges and just just incredibly mediocre performances we've seen, then it is, we can 100% definitively say the squad is not built to compete for anything. But
if we start next season and we've got a squad that is similar to this, and it's the same squad, I am going to gouge my eyes out because
I am too.
Because I don't care. There's no manager in the world that will make Dele Bashiru become a better footballer. There's no manager in the world at this point that can get Pellegrini to stop making the most boneheaded decision.
I mean, if the decision, the coach is deciding to, Sadi has sat Nuno intentionally many occasions this season.
Different there now that he's on the squad, he is playing him. And again, I will defend today's decision because I do not need an injury. I will pitchfork out if we see Pellegrini on Wednesday.
But again, who started against Cagliari?
Pellegrini. I'm assuming Pellegrini.
No game. Pellegrini started that game. So again, Sadi is still one of his weird stuff. And a normal manager will watch Pellegrini and watch Nuno and be like, yeah, there's no way like I'm dropping Nuno. He has to play.
Yeah. Well, if
we're starting the year with the same thing, but I mean, anyways, we'll see. Right now, Coppa Italia is our only hope. I will root the team. We'll root for them. Really hope they can pull something together here.
Yeah. Well, look, Wednesday afternoon here, Lazio Atalanta, first leg, important. This is everything, all of our eggs in that basket. And then we've got another midweek fixture on Monday against Sassuolo. So be an interesting one just to see both of those sides stacked up against each other, Fabio Grosso versus Sarri. But, it's all about Wednesday.
Are we sure this is a leg one? It is.
Yeah, it's a 2-leg.
Has the second not been scheduled yet?
Ooh, that's a great question.
You're right about it being leg one. I just don't know if it had been scheduled yet.
It has. April 22nd.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, a lot of time in between, which is unfortunate, but
we'll
see.
After the season ends.
Yeah. No, it's after what?
April 22nd is sorry. April 22nd. No,
no, you're far from. Yep. So we will we'll see. It all comes down to this, right? If we can one leg at a time, that's it. It's got to be better than today. So we'll be here to cover it, and sempre forza Lazio.